Hello boys and girls, Miss Morris here. Thank you for joining me in my first story time on YouTube. Today I wanted to read to you Caps for Sale by Zephyr Zabakin. First I have to put on my own checked cap. Here we go. Once there was a peddler. He wasn't like any ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on his head. First, he had his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, red caps. There's something very interesting about the way he put his caps. Can you figure it out? He walked up and down the streets, holding himself up very straight so he did not upset his caps. He didn't want them to fall off, so he walked very slow. As he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the streets and he walked down the streets, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that day. Not even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so he did not upset the caps on his head. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so he did not disturb the caps on his head. Then he put his hand to feel if they were all straight. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and on the very top, the red caps. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were all there and in the right place. And all he felt was his own checked cap. Where were his caps? Where could they possibly have gone? He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in the back of him, no caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. Where'd they go? Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. The monkeys took his caps. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." This made the peddler angry, so he shook both hands at them and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their hands back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." By this time, the peddler was really very angry. He stamped both his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you! You must give me back my caps!" But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." At last, he became so angry, he pulled off his cap and he threw it on the ground and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off their caps and they threw it on the ground. And all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray cap and the brown cap, then the blue cap, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. Caps for sale, boys and girls. Thank you so much for joining me in my very first story time on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the book. Also, I wanted to let you know, if you have any comments that you want to leave me on the bottom of this video, please do.